What is going on, YouTube? It is Primitive here, and today I'm going to be bringing you another locals match, and today we're going to be having one that I am pretty excited for, a deck that I've been trying to get onto the channel for a bit now, which is going to be that Dorbickmon OTK. I think this deck is very interesting. It's something that I feel like mostly came out of nowhere in the metagame, but was able to get a little bit of results and find a spot in the metagame, and we're going to be going against the blue-green Imperialdramon. So starting off with that Davis, we are going to double hit, so both players already having their memory tamers turn 1, so going to prevent that choking, and also a blue memory boost coming out for the blue-green Imperial player, so that way they can get a little bit more extra memory. Going to swing with the Digimon, which is going to allow you to draw 2, since the egg and the Digimon itself allow you to draw, but going to swing into that top check Megadeth, which is a bit unfortunate, but at least it's not your Dorbickmon stack swinging into that, and also being able to bounce it back into hand is fine, because next turn you hatch and you just put it back into raising, promote, be able to get those draws once again. But here comes the offense for the Imperial player, going to go with that jamming EX3. We also have the blue memory boost, and we also have at least one spark in hand, so going to be able to get up into that Stingmon, DNA Digivolve up into the Imperialdramon, which will bottom deck that Guilmon X antibody, and let's swing in. Going to be a lot of random cards in this deck, as we know with the Dorbickmon playing a lot of cards that can go under Dorbick with the traits that are a little bit different, but going to swing into Hero of the Skies right there, which will add into hand. So security relatively safe. If you were able to go up into a dragon mode right now, that could be pretty effective. You do have to be careful of the Dorbickmon. If you do play it out here for the 5 sources and play it for 3, you would be able to double clear here. Dorbickmon's on play of being able to delete big stacks is really helpful. That's why I think it does so well in decks like Black War Greymon, but it's also just a key part of this deck here. Obviously, Dorbickmon wants to be going for the OTK with this list, but having the ability to just play it for removal is also very nice. So we are going to see a Dorbickmon come out here for 5 sources, going to go in there either with Soar, Dragon, or Ceratopsin in their traits. So we're going to have 5 there, so we'll play for 3. On play, we get to delete a 13k or less, which of course we are going to pick that unsuspended Vmon, because we want to be able to get rid of the Imperialdramon, so we can delete the unsuspended, swing over the Imperialdramon, and clear the board, while also being able to keep a Dorbickmon on the board to potentially build up, as the moment your opponent doesn't have a green source, so they wouldn't be able to go for something like a Megadeth, which is pretty decent versus Dorbick, because they play out 5 cards from their hand. If you bounce the Dorbick back into their hand, they are going to have another 5 cards to really get it back out there. So it would allow you to just kind of whittle away your opponent's hand, make them have as little resources as possible, but not going to be able to remove the stack at the moment, so just going to go for that Davis Ken, which does give you a bit more memory, and also gives you that green source for Megadeth. But we have one swing with the Dorbick here. We have a relatively weak stack. This stack can definitely get much stronger, but we do get that one check-in and then get a second check-in with our rookie, which will go down. But now both players are sitting at 2 security apiece, and we do have to go for the pass right there, and that is pretty unfortunate. You don't want to be passing there, but this deck, like I said, can be a little bit awkward with the cards that are in its hand, so not sure what their hand is looking like right now, but I could definitely see it being a little bit awkward. Gonna swing with that jamming Vmon, so we will survive. Gonna go for that X-Vmon, down to 2 memory, so Spark Stingmon is going to allow the Imperialdramon, and they do have it, so let's DNA Digivolve up. We can swing jamming, unsuspend, and they hit the Majiramon, so that is going to swing in and go for game. So the Imperialdramon player is going to be able to take game 1. But moving on into game 2, we are going to be having the Imperial player go first. That Dorbick definitely wanting to be going second, so you can get that extra draw. You want to be trying to find the Guilmon, so that way you can get those draws. Fireball and Hero of the Skies also help get draws as well, but mostly just being able to get that little bit of extra memory when your opponent plays a card, and being able to get that draw turn 1 does help. So red memory boost going in. This is a nice card to have, because this deck plays cards like A Delicate Plan, and so when you are playing Dorbickmon for 3, and a lot of times sitting at 3 at the start of your turn, having those memory boosts out does allow you to play out those option cards, which is pretty important. So we're going to play that out early, and we're just going to see the Davis Ken on the other end. No promote or anything like like that. Just gonna start setting up for some memory. We do have Syakomon in the back, and so we won't be able to go into anything like Lydramon, for example, which allow you to capitalize on the Davis Ken a little bit more, but still just want to set up to get that memory gain and the ability to unsuspend later. But with that red memory boost, we have enough memory to be able to go for this Dorbickmon, and we have a pretty intense stack right here. Going to be able to swing for, I believe, 3 checks, and thanks for that Majiramon, we are going to be able to unsuspend. So we're just going to inspect the stack really quick. So we have the Greymon, I believe that is a Guilmon, Majiramon, and the Klaus Gamamon, so that is going to swing 3 Megadeth, but we do have the ADP, so then we're going to swing another 2, a second Megadeth, so that Delicate Plan was super huge right now, and that was just a turn 2 OTK through double Megadeth, and so I did mention that the red memory boost helps a lot with the ADP. Didn't really expect them to go for the KO right there, but that was a very quick game 2, just being able to go for that turn 2 OTK, and that is what Dorbickmon is capable of, especially when you have Digimon with no sources on your board. But after that super quick game 2, we are going to be moving on into game 3 with Dorbick going first, starting off with the Fireball, and then going with the red memory boost as the Imperial player plays out the BT8 Vmon, so a lot of searching going on here. Going to be able to get that draw off the Demi Vmon, and then swing here, swing into the Agumon, so I don't think there's a ton of security triggers in Dorbick outside of things that could potentially draw you cards like the Fireball or the Hero of the Skies, which I think just adds to hand, so not too much security triggers coming out of this deck. You really are kind of playing mostly out of hand. But here comes out the Magnamon X for the Imperial player, and this is a card that could definitely be incredibly annoying for Dorbickmon. Doesn't really have a good way to get through it. They could just redirect the attack right there, but actually let it swing in, and they get the draw in. I'm assuming that they were hoping for something like a Tamer to come out of their security, and they were just letting it go through. But I don't think it matters too much. The Magnamon X antibody being able to redirect is just such a big issue. Dorbick can't get through it. When they do delete it, it will be a recovery, and then even when it is deleted, there is still another blocker underneath it with that Magnamon, so it is a pretty good counter to this deck. Now, obviously, you do have the ability to make your Dorbickmon unblockable because of the Klaus Gamamon that would be in its sources, but that isn't really the same with the redirection of the Magnamon X, so you'd still have to delete this Magnamon X. So we are going to swing, and again, they are letting these swings go in. I'm assuming they are looking for some sort of Tamer or something to come out of there, or else there's got to be a reason why you wouldn't redirect it, but we are going to redirect that one there. They decided that the 2 checks was enough, and now we're going to start to get defensive. Didn't really pay off because they didn't get anything to come out of security, but I don't think they're in a terrible position either. I think this Magnamon X is such a big deal that it doesn't really matter. Like, I think your defensive capabilities are just almost too hard for the opponent to get through in a fast time or an appropriate amount of time. But the main thing about Dorbickmon is it plays this really weird combination of cards in its deck sometimes that could come for a very interesting way to come back into this game. At the moment, it isn't looking like it. It looks like we're doing a lot of cycling to get those cards in hand for Dorbick. We can still play out the Dorbickmon and get rid of the Magna, but I don't think it's going to be the most helpful at the moment. I think they're going to need a couple of Digimon on board, so that way once they get through this Magnamon that they can go for multiple swings, or they're just going to have to really load up on their Dorbickmon. But we did put one of these security attack Greymons on the field to be able to Digivolve up, so I'm not sure that they're going to be Digi-crossing with that since it's now an active Digimon on board itself. And the Imperial player is looking like they can do some pretty big damage their own right now. With all the Digimon on board and the aggression that they have, they could start swinging in and potentially just go for game next turn. You do have your Syakomon and Stingmon sitting on the board kind of open, but you're only going to get deleted by something like Fireball unless they go for a full Dorbick right now. So there goes the Fireball, which will delete the Syakomon, and that's one down, but you still have 2 checks and you have a Stingmon on board, so if you are able to get another champion on board, you would be able to DNA Digivolve up, and having the green source alongside the blue source from the Magnamon X is very nice for that Davis Ken. Going to be starting your next turn at 5 unless they are able to delete here, and there's a lot of thinking coming from the Dorbick player right now, and that could mean that they are thinking about what to do, but I think the better chances they're trying to figure out what 5 cards to put underneath Dorbick, and the Dorbick is coming out, so we have 4 under there. Think about what the 5th is going to be. Going to go with the Greymon, so we will delete the Stingmon just so that way they don't have the ability to DNA Digivolve up into Imperialdramon. Also going to be gaining 1 less memory from that Davis Ken, and you set up the Dorbickmon, but it's still an interesting spot because because we weren't able to delete the Magnamon X there. So still going to have to deal with that, and we're not going to be able to use the Kazgamamon or the Majiramon to unsuspend because of the sources underneath the Magnamon X. And here comes the Megadeth bouncing back Dorbickmon, so all those sources that were used in hand to use the Dorbickmon get immediately bounced back and essentially wasted. And now we just have the Greymon on board, but we're going for another Dorbick. Again, going to be able to finally delete that Magnamon X and put it at the top of security. And the opponent did miss the rookie, so as of the moment, they aren't able to promote and just double swing out. So the Dorbick player does have a chance to survive, but we're just going to go for Stingmon. DNA Digivolve up, gonna bottom deck that Greymon, and then HPD into Dragon Mode, which you can use Davis Ken to unsuspend. And I imagine we're swinging in and DNAing again. Swinging with the Magna, but that just got played out. They were skipping a step right there. Need to DNA into that Imperialdramon, but they did have it. So going to be able to just swing, unsuspend, swing, even though we just need that one check. So even if they had 2 checks left, we were probably good to go. But with that being said, if you enjoyed, be sure to like and subscribe because I'll be bringing you even more locals content. And I hope you have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you next time. Peace out.